During the burial of pilgrims on Mount Arafat in a mass grave. You won't believe what happened in the Grand Mosque of Makkah. But before we begin, if you believe that offering a sacrifice is a sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and you are proud to follow his guidance, then press the like button for this video, and don't forget to write in the comments, "O Allah, send blessings and peace upon our Master Muhammad." In this year's Hajj season, the world witnessed one of the most difficult humanitarian moments as the number of pilgrim deaths rose to an unprecedented level due to the extreme heat that swept the holy sites. According to medical and diplomatic sources, more than 550 pilgrims lost their lives. Most of them were affected by heat exhaustion and direct exposure to the sun during the rituals. What worsened the situation was that many of these cases did not receive a chance for rest or immediate medical care due to the overwhelming crowd and limited time. Jordan announced more than 40 deaths, while Tunisia lost 35 pilgrims, and Egypt was the most affected, with more than 300 deaths. Media reports indicated that the Makkah morgue was completely filled with the bodies of the deceased pilgrims, all of whom died due to the harsh weather conditions. Saudi authorities confirmed that many injuries and deaths could have been avoided if health guidelines were followed, such as using umbrellas and avoiding going out during peak heat hours. Yet, the difficulty of performing the rituals in such scorching heat made protecting the pilgrims' health a major challenge. Despite all this sadness, what happened after death was something different. In a mass grave on Mount Arafat, scenes emerged that astonished everyone who attended the burial and led many to reflect on the greatness of dying in this blessed place. Stay with us as we recount the night of burying the pilgrims who passed away during this year's Hajj. The burial was carried out in a mass grave near Mount Arafat, with participation from several scholars and young volunteers who helped prepare the graves and transfer the bodies. But those who attended the burial spoke of unique details they had never witnessed before. One of the scholars who took part said, "While carrying the bodies, I felt they were unusually light, as if they were asking us to hurry and bury them, as if they were going to a promised rest." The sheikh continued his testimony while weeping, confirming that most of those buried had glowing faces and emitted a fragrance like no other he had smelled before. What's notable is that the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, instructs that those who die during Hajj should not have their faces covered and should be buried in their Hajj garments, without perfume or embalming, because they will be resurrected on the Day of Judgment, saying, "Labbaik, here I am, O Allah." And indeed, that is exactly what happened. The pilgrims were shrouded in their simple white garments and buried together without being washed, as they are considered martyrs in the path of Allah. Hundreds of bodies were buried all at once, and some of them were of nationalities not yet officially disclosed. But the moment of lowering them into the grave, amidst takbir and prayers, was a majestic moment full of meaning, as if the earth embraced them with peace and a noble farewell. One of the workers preparing the mass grave shared touching details that cannot be ignored. He said he received an urgent call from the authorities requesting a mass pit 30 meters long and more than 1.5 meters deep to accommodate the large number of bodies that would be buried at once. What shocked this worker was that while digging, he felt something unusual, as if the whole place was filled with tranquility he had never known. Despite the intense heat of the sun, he felt no fatigue or heat and said, "I felt like I was preparing a place not for burial." He added that the scent in the air was different, calm, as if something was giving him strength and energy to complete the task without hesitation. Despite the great sadness, there was an inner feeling of hope and mercy. Those present at the burial testified that the bodies smelled pleasant, even though they weren't washed, as if perfumed with musk from paradise. Not all names were known, but in the hearts of the people, every soul that died as a martyr in the way of Allah has their name written in the heavens. The scene was awe-inspiring. The bodies were shrouded in their ihram garments, not washed, no perfume added, exactly following the instructions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who commanded that those who die in Hajj be buried as they are. They were sent back with the intention of answering Allah's call. The Sheikh's voice echoed, "O Allah, accept them among the martyrs with you." The smell of the place was unlike any other burial site, described by some as a blend of tranquility and serenity. Bulldozers dug slowly, and hearts prayed, "O Lord, resurrect us with them." It was a moment one cannot forget, watching hands carry those who had come from distant lands to fulfill the duty of a lifetime, only to return to their Lord with a satisfied soul, at peace. These mass graves were not limited to Makkah this year. Gaza also witnessed similar burials, but for the victims of the bombing that targeted the Baptist hospital. Under siege and bombardment, the residents were forced to dig mass graves big enough to hold dozens of bodies at once. A pit 30 meters long and more than 1.5 meters deep was dug to accommodate more than 130 martyrs at once. One of the grave diggers in Gaza said, "When I got the call, I felt something indescribable, as if I wasn't digging a grave, but preparing a wedding for souls headed to paradise." The sun's heat was burning their faces, but strangely, he felt no pain. He described the atmosphere as different, as if Allah was comforting the martyrs from above the 7 heavens. Despite the deep sorrow, there was still a sense of hope and mercy. The bodies smelled pleasant, as if perfumed with musk from paradise, even though they hadn't been washed. Not all names were known, but in the hearts of the people, every martyr in the way of Allah has their name written in the heavens. As the world mourns the pilgrims of Makkah and the martyrs of Gaza, hope remains that Allah will unite them in His highest paradise, where there is no thirst, no fatigue, no fear. What did you feel after witnessing this miracle and these emotional moments? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. And don't forget to press like if this video touched you and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new video. Now send peace and blessings upon Prophet Muhammad. Peace be upon him, for prayer in these blessed moments is never rejected.